Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Lots going on. I wanted to hop on here before Kamala's Zoom live tonight. I hope you've heard about it. 7:15 Eastern Time. Join. Don't know where the link is. Let's find it so we can let people know what it is in case you haven't heard about it. Let me see where my mod is. But yeah, so I thought I would come on a little early and say hi. It's been a while. Sorry I'm late. It's only been about, 3 weeks since I've done a live. Hi, Soul Seeker. It's good to see you. Yeah, lots of people going live these days. I love it. Lots of good energy. Thanks so much for coming in, saying hello. Hi, Lisa H. So if you haven't heard, Kamala Harris is going live tonight in the Zoom. And does someone have, hello from the Mitten. Hi, Michigan. Aren't you a swing state? You are, aren't you? We gotta have you there. Don't we? Hello. Thank you. Hi, Mary. It's good to see you. Lily, I can understand why you're afraid. We certainly have reason to have hope, but I can also understand why you're afraid. The things that have been happening and the ramping up of all of the rhetoric and the toxicity around, absolutely, T. Black Welder, all of that toxicity is intentional. Number one, it's to get to exhaust you and to confuse you, to trigger you into giving up, to trigger you back into obedience, into compliance, because they know that so many of us have some kind of indoctrination into this patriarchy, that Christian nationalism is based on. And they're trying to get us back into compliance. That's exactly what they're doing. So that's why they can't let up the pedal off the gas pedal any more than they can in church, any more than you can when you are indoctrinated into that. If you think about how many of us, when you were inside that patriarchal indoctrination, it never changed. It was unbending. It was non-negotiable. And it was constantly pounded into you. Even when you knew they were wrong, you were powerless to push back on it. That's why this is so triggering for so many people. Hi, Dot Views. Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it? It's, Jay, I don't understand what was negotiated. I thank you, Illinois, you're voting. We appreciate that. Depends on the parents. Yeah, I'm still not following you on that one, but that's okay. Gina, hi, it's good to see you. Just thought I would come on for a little bit in case does someone have a link that they can share about the Zoom call tonight for Kamala Harris? Vice President Kamala Harris, hi Dee Dee, it's good to see you, is speaking tonight. So I wanted to come in and say hello. And I forgot to grab the link before I came live. I'm trying to find it. I'm not having any luck. Does anybody have that link? Or I came live. I'm trying to find it. I'm not having any luck. Does anybody have that link?
Keep setting up.
Mandy?
Pardon me. Pardon me.
Hi.
Sorry for the background image.
That's okay. That's okay. Hi, what are you doing? Are you,
What am I doing?
Yeah, I don't battle. Is that why you're here?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay. Yeah, I don't do that stuff.
No.
Do you
No.
have, I saw that you're a follower. What's on your mind?
What's on my mind is a lot.
Yeah?
A lot.
Thank you
A
so much
lot.
for
And
the gift, Shelley. Oh, I think we lost you.
hello.
Hello, are you there?
Are you there?
Lynette, are
Can you
you
hear me?
there? I can't. No, can you drop down and try back again, please? I need to set up the panel correctly. So if you'll drop down, I'm gonna set up the panel directly. I forgot to do that. Drop down, and I'll bring you back up. Okay, Rev Karla Shop, I'll get you, Lynette. I'll get you back up. I'm asking for someone who can help me find the link for tonight. Vice President Kamala Harris is going to be speaking tonight. Daniel, I'm so sorry to hear that about your mother. I'm sending you so much love, and we're holding space for you. For those of us who do pray, let's keep Daniel in our thoughts and our prayers. I'm going to mute you. Oh, yeah, this is I don't want to do this. Can you, it's saying that it's a battle, Mandy. Can you disconnect? I don't know how to disconnect you. You're doing that for me. I needed that to go away. I'm not into that. Let me see. It's been a while since I've done this, and I've already forgotten how to bring up guests. Can somebody help me here? It says guest. Oh, here we go. I think I found it. Okay, that didn't work. Lynette, where are you? Hi, Zach. Welcome to Hoosier Land. Thank you. Let's try this again. Jeez. I think that the reason why that didn't work was because that person was trying to battle me. I don't do that. Coach says, is that what our link is for tonight? Can someone pin that for me? Let's try it. Can someone pin that comment for me? I pinned it. You can't pin for some reason? I don't know why. That did not work for me. Maybe I didn't do it right, Coach. Let's try again. Thank you. Okay, I'm either typing it wrong or the link isn't working. I'm typing it in as exactly how you're saying it, and it's not working. Yeah, the calls were very good, Shelley. They were very inspiring. It was amazing to see how many people were on there. And I might have the link. I know I signed up, so let me go look in my let me go look at my email. Let me see if I can find it that way. Found it. There is a stream. Thank you. I have it here. Now let me see how to get it to my. I don't know how to get it to my iPad. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm so sorry. When it comes to technology, this is all I got. This is all I got. You're getting it. I did see a question. Someone had a question about, let me go back up through the questions because I know we missed one related to how you were feeling about some of the things. It wouldn't let you. Yeah, Dee Dee, that happens quite often when, user 706 was asking, what do you respond to when people say they're taking back the rainbow? Well, it depends on who's the person saying it. Oh, that's good. Let's try that. Who is the person saying that to you? Because if it's somebody who's just highly indoctrinated into their beliefs, that's not going to go well. They're not going to believe anything that you said. I think there might be something wrong with my computer. I'm not able to get anything up right now. So something's going on. It's a typical night for me. Yeah, everything. I just tried the actual link in my email and it's telling me it's not found. So I think my computer is offline. So I have no idea how to fix it. So sorry about that. Thank you for the gifts, Mandy. So let's talk a minute about this whole take back the rainbow thing that people will say to you. That's often somebody who's saying something about that's reflecting their belief that the rainbow is specifically in the Bible. I'm sorry, specifically in the sky for Christians. And you can see the entitlement and the arrogance in that because it's based on the scriptural reading of the rainbow. That's both in the Old Testament and the New Testament. To think that alone, that symbolism is only is reflecting their indoctrinated belief in their entitlement. This is why when we talk about how strongly you're seeing this reflection in this patriarchy right now, and why it's so important to understand why you are, if you are deconstructing, why you are so triggered by some of the things that you're seeing and some of the things that are being said to you. And somebody talking to you about taking back the rainbow is absolutely reflecting that indoctrinated belief. I mean, I can certainly for myself know there was a time when I believed that as well. Annetta, thank you so much for the gifts. And for those of you who've given gifts, I don't know if I've missed that. I'm sorry. But the most important thing for you, user 706, the person who asked this question, is that you understand that none of that is true. Someone is reflecting to you their belief. This sets in their mind this ideology that they're being persecuted if you don't agree with that. So someone who then uses the rainbow as a symbol of something else, as a symbol of breaking free from patriarchy through this, your sexual and gender liberation, which is what pride is reflecting to them, is offensive to them because they feel that they are the ones who have the right and the authority to convey to the world what the rainbow really means. And it requires a literal interpretation. Thank you for the glasses. It requires a literal interpretation of scripture to do so. So you're not just talking about the entirety of Christianity. You're talking about a specific subset of Christians who believe that the rainbow was put in the sky as a reminder of God's love and God's promise, or has something to do with end times in Revelation as well, with Jesus, I think, descending back to earth. I can't remember. Once you've deconstructed that stuff kind of goes out of your head. But so it's important to understand that it's not everyone that believes that. You're talking about a specific one. And so when you look percentage-wise at how many Christians believe that, and I think this is important because when people are coming at you, they may be the loudest and they may be the most offensive, but they are absolutely a minority. So when you think of that, you think about how many Christians actually ended up voting. Thank you for those. Wow, that's cool. That ended up voting for this Trumpisms, this Trump Christian nationalism, because they became enamored with and believe in this patriotism that's bound to Christianity. Now, why so many are starting to shake away from that is because they realize how toxic it is. They realize how dangerous it is. They're starting to awaken to the fact that someone in their family is going to be harmed. Someone in their family is going to be left out of the American dream, the democracy, because it's so dangerous. Now, I know that's a long, sordid answer, but I'm saying that to you to assure you that there are many more of us who believe that not only that you have the right to celebrate the rainbow and take it into what it means for you as being symbolic of your liberation from patriarchy, and for you to stand in your authenticity, that we are the majority. We are the majority. By far, more people support same-sex marriage than not. By far, more people support women's right to autonomy of their body than not. So you continue to look for the good in the people. And so when people throw those horrible things to you, I suggest that you let other people stand in the gap. It's not your battle. It's not your fight. I don't want you to feel like you have to defend yourself. There's many of us who are learning to be informed and educated, and more than likely it will not end well. Now, that doesn't mean that if this is somebody who's saying this to you in your workplace or in, your home or something like that, that you don't stand up for yourself, and that you don't create boundaries, or you demand action if someone is creating a harassing environment. You absolutely do. You absolutely do. Oh, we got some people balked over. Yes, Festorduate to Margaret Ann. Yeah, it's not. That's what learning how to be a helpful and informed ally is, to be able to stand in the gap. Tamala Jean, it doesn't matter what we think, it's what the Word of God means. No, it's what your interpretation of your scriptural understanding is. That's all you're reflecting, is your indoctrinated belief. You need the Bible to be homophobic to justify your homophobic beliefs. You need the Bible to be transphobic to justify your transphobic beliefs. It's a game that Christianity has played with the Bible for generations. It's the same Bible that was used in America to justify slavery. It's the same Bible that was used to stomp on human rights, that said women shouldn't have the right to vote, that said black women shouldn't have the right to vote, that said black people shouldn't have the right to vote, that said black students don't have the right to go to school with white students, that segregation was a good thing because it says so in the Bible. So if you're comfortable with one thing, just admit that you're comfortable with it all. You're basically reflecting what you're basically saying the quiet things out loud, that in your world, you want the Bible to be that, to hold on to your bigotry. That's what you need the Bible to do. Or you can deconstruct from it, so like so many of us did, because you're talking to someone who was raised Southern Baptist. I listened to John Hagee and Oral Roberts and Jimmy Swaggart. I watched a fire and brimstone and listened to a fire and brimstone preacher from the time I was 6 years old. So you're not talking to somebody who's telling you about your faith. I lived it. I believed those things. So you coming here and saying that is not only showing that that's where you're doubling down on that. It's so harmful that you think that that is something that you need to come here and tell people. Shameful. Shameful, shameful. Did I see somebody have the link for tonight? Hey, Rosie. Hey. Hi there. I saw somebody say it, but I saw Dob Views. Did you have it? I'm going to try to get this up. If this doesn't work, then I know that my computer is just gone. Lynette, can you tag, scroll up and get Dob Views? Yeah, it's dead. It's not, I'm not online. Yeah, she has it in the comments, and I can't grab it and pin it. Can someone else pin it? Can anybody pin? Davius, thank you for doing that. We're trying to pin it, Hope. Something's going on. I can't do it on my end, so we can't figure out what's going on here. And I'm having trouble. Let's see. Yeah. We're not getting that option, and so we don't know what's going on. Right now, some crazy things are going on with the account, so we don't know what it is. Don't know what it is. Oh, Mandy, I saw that you re-upped. I'm not gaming with you, Mandy. That's what came up. I'm not doing that stuff. If you want to do a battle, Rosie.
Hi, sweetie. I heard talk of the rainbow.
Did you hear me preaching?
Yeah, well, and then Tamala. I keep trying to get Tamala. Is that what her name is?
Yeah.
I mean, what I'm trying to ask her is, she goes, I just believe in the Bible. Which one? Which interpretation? Is it the Good News? Is it revised? Is it, King James? Which one is it? When was it printed? In what interpretation? And
yeah.
I guess you can believe what you want, as far as I'm concerned, because I believe what I want. But I would hope that you would have the security in your own beliefs to actually study your belief system. And that would mean maybe taking a theology class and studying the history of the Bible and who wrote it and when and how much was changed.
Yeah. That's what I did. When I did, I lost the Santa Claus around my faith. That's the best way I can describe it. I mean, it hurt to realize all these years, how, I think there's always parts of me where I was deconstructing, but to really just let it go when I tried for years to be that good Christian, to try until finally let that go, and then realize that your entire foundation was built on a lie.
Well, and I actually, I am a solitary green witch, and I actually do believe Jesus Christ was a real person.
Oh, I do too. Yeah.
But I don't believe he was the son of any god or goddess. I think actually deifying him was tragic, and it takes away so much of his humanity, and then anything that is about his personal life, they took out of the Bible and put in the Apocrypha or destroyed it. It's like, he can be an incredibly wonderful, inspiring prophet and not have to, be the son of somebody who lives up in the sky.
Yeah.
And I think the spirituality of Christianity, I think there's a lot of, I think it's a beautiful spiritual religion if you're looking at it from sort of an elemental position, not from a megachurch position.
For sure. Yeah, and I think that's why you find, as I do, I find friendship and respect among a lot of the progressive Christians that aren't here, who aren't offended by the fact when I make fun of my faith, my religious heritage. I make fun of it. I have the right to do that, and that may offend someone who's still entrenched in it. But somebody else is like, "Oh, I get that. I get that. Yeah, you're right. You're right. We do that. I used to do that." But understand that it's a problem within Christianity, and why we're seeing it now, which is why I'm talking so much about patriarchal indoctrination and why people are getting triggered, because the tenets of Christian nationalism are to trigger you into submission, because so many of us were indoctrinated in that the reason why they're pounding this in and trying to mock Kamala's name and try to talk to you about the obedience and Trump saying things about now saying Catholics are heavily persecuted, but not backing it up, and saying Christians are, and not backing it up, is because he knows what's being said at the pulpit. And so he's trying to trigger those kinds of memories to bring you into compliance and hope that all of a sudden you think, well, in order for me to be a good Christian, in order for me to be compliant, in order for me to go to heaven, I better vote for Trump. I mean, it's there.
I saw my mother's church pass out sample ballots.
Oh my gosh.
That's Presbyterian. Sample ballots, so you could have a look at what was on the ballot and what you should vote for.
Oh my gosh. Was that PCUSA?
First Presbyterian was I don't know what.
Well, they schismed, and one of them.
This was back in like the 80s.
Okay, I don't think they had schismed yet, but
I doubt it.
yeah. Well, that's probably why. Thank you, J.H. Hotz. Thank you for being here.
I tell the story about my mother's funeral, and I went and talked to the minister who was going to do it, and I talked to him a lot about my beliefs and, splitting from the church and things like that. And he was actually very nice about it. And we had a very good discussion. And I thought that was so refreshing because so much, I get the proselytizers coming into my life saying, and I think the hard thing is that they realize I was raised Christian and I am no longer. And I'm very happy with that.
Yeah.
And I get you just need to read your Bible.
Yeah.
Well, sweetie, I have read the Bible. But,
yeah.
I think a lot of, especially Americans, don't realize that there is a huge world of spiritualities and faiths out in the world. And, the whole thing with the Olympics struck me as funny because I actually looked up the stats. Christians only make up 31% of the world's population. It's pretty small.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you should learn about Hinduism. You should learn about Buddhism. You should learn about Sikhism and Muslim and Islam. I mean, why not? That makes you a better, more accepting person.
Yeah, exactly. Are you going to go into Kamala Harris's Zoom call tonight?
I'm gonna try. I'm kind of concerned that it's gonna crash.
It's got to.
I actually might try and see. Last night, I actually watched Sakithia's. I just watched her live stream because she had her camera up, and I just watched the meeting through there. It was better than trying to do that. I figured somebody's gonna have it on. Like Old Man Murphy had on the white dudes one.
Oh yeah.
And oh my gosh, I'm so proud of them. Because
unbelievable.
It was because it was like, the white dudes aren't going to do it. They did. And that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Mandy, I'm sorry. Let me get you up here. Mandy's been waiting for a while for me to reconnect her. Oops, I got an echo, Mandy.
Uh-oh.
See if you can take me off Bluetooth or something. So Rosie, and hi Heather. Thanks for joining us. So Rosie, hi. You were watching last night? Yeah, yes. It was absolutely beautiful, and I need to go back and revisit some of but there were a couple times that brought me to tears, especially the person who was talking about the importance of all of us wanting each other to win. Wanting each other, each of us to that's what this election is about. People want to talk about. Yeah, I can talk all day about the flaws in our structure. Mandy, I'm sorry, you still have an echo. Gosh darn it!
I'm so sorry.
Maybe you'll have to come the next time.
Hit the mic when you want to talk, and I'll just make sure
back.
we're not echoing. Is it echoing when I'm talking?
It's pretty bad. So why don't you drop one more time and come in, and if you can't, I'm going to be live tomorrow. So yeah, the fact that our system is built on a patriarchal structure. Yes, we understand that there's a lot of flaws in it, but this election, when you get to the point where you're talking about everybody being broken, no, this is a fight for our democracy. This is it. When Trump says that tells the Christians that they won't have to vote again. I don't care how he rationalizes it. Y'all just listen to his words, and he's telling you exactly what he has been for years. When he mused in 2018 that he may never leave office, he was telling you.
Yep.
He was telling you what he plans to do. Mandy, I'm sorry. Come back and see us sometime.
Well, and the funny thing is like, people are the opposition. I'll just call them.
Grant
is doing everything from the mispronouncing of the name, which is like whatever. To me that's very childish. Go ahead, and I just made a video and I said that's fine. Mispronounce it all you want. Come November, you'll have to call her Madam President. I'm pretty sure you can say that.
I love it.
But I mean, going back to birtherism, and it's like, oh, you are grasping at straws, and going back to, oh, well, she dated this person in the 1990s. Oh, for who cares?
Yeah.
We
better be really careful going back 30 years into anybody's history. I mean, and it is such a place of arrogance and judgment to be able to think that you're going to be able to put somebody who is willing to put themselves out to lead this country, and yet you get to sit behind your wall and judge someone. Oh, I'm sorry. That's just not happening.
Yeah, no.
That's just not happening.
Well,
Heather, how are you?
Mary Jo!
Oh she's coming up. She's coming up. Our girl's coming up. Hello.
I am actually doing wonderful, and it's so good to be here with you guys this evening. I was so glad that you invited me to come up. I always love being able to go live with y'all.
Well, I just want if you want to say hi, or if you have something to say, we all will just keep talking. Especially the three of us when we get together. So if you want to say something, don't be afraid. Thank you for sharing the live, Sherry. Don't be afraid to just unmute and raise your hand or do whatever and just join in. Okay.
Okay, that's awesome.
I just love your content, and I love what you're doing as you share your own journey. So, Mary Jo, hello, my friend. I still owe you a book. I have not mailed it. It's been a minute. I tell you, I'm not the best. I'm the worst self-promoter. I really wrote a good book, y'all. I really did. And I wrote a good book. I can't even, I have a picture of it. Hang on. I have a picture of it. It says deconstructing. See that? That's a picture of it. It's really a good book. I need to start doing more. Please pre-order. Please pre-order my book. So how are you, Mary Jo? What's going on in your life? Hi, Teddy Bear.
I'm good. Recuperating from a busy week. I work at a family entertainment venue. It's locally owned, but think sort of like Chuck E. Cheese without the creepy animatronics. And our city hosts state softball tournament, which was last week. So we had all the state softball competitors and their families, and it makes us very, very busy because the families want something to do when their particular child is not playing. So we were very busy last week, and then we jumped right into a comic book convention on Saturday. So
oh my goodness,
taking a chance to catch our breath and recover because we had a very, very busy week for us.
So there's so many, especially the people who are up here now. I just love you all, but you know how the FYP works, and you don't get to see your content very often until all of a sudden you're there and like, oh my gosh, how's she been? But where are you in all of this? You share your story of deconstructing and healing, but I have found that a lot of people are triggered by what's happening with politics. What share your thoughts on this and what's going on with you?
I have family that I have to be very careful with. I have not cut them out of my life completely because with at least one of them, I have some hope. We've been able to have some good discussions. I even occasionally will jokingly say to him, careful, you're starting to sound like a deconstructing person. It's frustration, a lot of it. There's a thing that I've shared before on other social media that's making the rounds again of To my church family, I listened when you told me to care for the needy. I listened, what I'm doing now is exactly what you told me to do when I was growing up. I'm confused as to why you're not, kind of thing. That's the vibe of the whole passage. And I shared it again. But it's been just, even before all of the election stuff happened there, I find myself in a place of anger. And Christian Smith posted something that really dove into this nicely about the anger that's involved in deconstruction when you realize, why did I give so much of my life? Because if I look back when the doubt started in my teens and early 20s. Why did I continue to give so much of my time? Why did I let my children be dragged into that? And then, of course, with everything that's happening now, with the awful things that people who are supposedly Christians are saying about the presumptive candidate for the Democratic Party, the anger is at the forefront. So I'm having to do a lot of calm myself, collect myself, make sure I surround myself with other people and events that will keep me a little bit more even-keeled.
For sure. What you said about, Mary Jo, what you said about the teens, for sure. In our community, we had a tragic accident that took 2 of my classmates' lives. We were a tiny school. I think we had 70 in my graduating class. So basically something like that, it closes down the town. Everybody's at the funeral. And it was my pastor who was going to do the dual funeral, and he never even mentioned their names. He never mentioned their names, and he had a call to salvation, and I'm sitting there and I'm screaming inside in my hands. And I remember thinking, and you think about the things in your life that really point you to your truth. I remember sitting there and saying, if I ever get the chance, and I'm all of 15, if I ever, because we just all we're getting our license and so excited, and they ran head on into a semi. So you imagine how graphic this accident was. And I said, if I ever get the chance to care for someone and attend a funeral, I will ensure that the space is held for the grieving, for the sorrow, for the dead, and so that you know that you have a space to cry. We got nothing because, again, in that indoctrination, there is nothing more important. That you want to talk about this hyper focus on salvation, honey, this is about protecting the patriarchy. This is about protecting the patriarchal structure. So at a person's weakest moment, and he's looking at an opportunity to have the entire town there, he's going to evangelize because he's worried about paying the light bill. I'll never see it any other way. And even though it would be years before I completely deconstructed, because even leaving church, I thought, I didn't know I was leaving. I didn't know I was permanently leaving. So, yeah, very much so. You can tell I just get anger. Now I got to take my sweatshirt off and burn it up.
The comment that somebody put, we were all conditioned to believe that Satan was causing confusion if we had doubts.
Yes.
The number of times I would ask a question and then you just need to have faith. Yeah. Don't let the devil dissuade you. Don't. And all of those questions I had as a 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old kid are, they were the beginnings of my deconstruction. They were the questions that came up again. For me, I say that it started hardcore during the pandemic when all I had to do was sit at home and read. And I went back and read the words of Jesus and then looked at the church and went, oh, something doesn't line up here.
Something doesn't line up.
All of those same questions and doubts that I had asked 10, 20, 30, 40 years before came screaming back to the forefront. And I realized all I had done was suppress the questions and force myself to live this life that looked spiritual and faithful. But the most peace I had ever felt in my life was when I got burned out while my husband was in ministry in Pennsylvania and stopped going to church for 3 months. It was a church that held 2 services in the morning, so I could just not go because if people didn't see me, they would just assume I went to the other service. And I didn't go anywhere near a church service for 3 months and found the most peace, the most authentic, because I still consider myself a Jesus follower, the most authentic interaction with meditation and prayer time that I had ever had. And I wasn't doing anything connected to organized religion during those 3 months. And it was very, very eye-opening for me.
Yeah, I
I
can
always
see that.
say it's kind of like taking a step back, from an abusive relationship or whatever. You can't see how bad it is until you're on the outside of it looking in, right? And it is that separation because, it was the same way for me. I left the church a broken human being when I walked out of those doors. I had never been that broken in my life. But I could not see all the damage that had been done to me until I was far enough away from it and I could look at it through a more objective lens and not that indoctrinated lens. That lens that told us to excuse away all that bad behavior, all that mistreatment, all that abuse, because we were taught that was normal. That was acceptable. All that stuff, die to self, right? And we know that that's like one of the worst things that you can actually do is be disconnected from your inner person. Like it is the most damning thing to teach people that. And that's the very core of the belief system. It's crazy.
I just want to pause for a minute and say hi, NC Blue Dot. We love you
Oh my
as
God,
well.
Goddess Mia's here.
I know.
Mia. Hi,
Hi,
everybody.
hi there.
How
Hi
you
there.
guys doing? I just jumped in, so I'm just gonna listen before I make any remarks. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah. So, and one thing I do want to say, Dob Views, thank you for coming back in here. I'm sorry to hear that you were ill. This is my first live, and I think in 3 weeks. I just couldn't get my act together to get here. And the whole purpose of this is I've been wanting to do this. Y'all see my content. I'm taking, I think I've read 6 books now on the New Apostolic Reformation, Opus Dei. I'm getting ready to do a video that ties both of those organizations to electors going that are looking at compromising election integrity. So that's where my focus has been. But I also see a lot of the people in my comments talking about how triggering this is, because when you are deconstructing and you're hearing a bunch of white Christian men talk about in insulting and disparaging and dehumanizing ways with a qualified, credentialed woman of color who is capable of leading this country, you also hear about how they are dehumanizing people who are wanting to come to this country. You hear all these things, they are going to trigger something inside you. So, that's what I want this focus to be here for us, a space, because there are plenty of you having amazing lives. I can't hold a candle to the political side of that. And I'm going to let you all handle that. But that's why we're here, is to try to create a safe space to help with some of that triggering. And I cannot believe it's like I invited this panel and I didn't. But I couldn't have had a better panel. How did this happen? How did this happen?
I was just scrolling for you, and I saw your beautiful face. So I said, let me see what she's talking about. And I saw North and Mary Jo Lapp, and I'm like, let me jump in here, see what you guys are talking about. And to talk on your point, the last 8 days, 9 days have been very difficult for me. I have been on an up and down roller coaster because, I am a Black woman, so I knew the racism was going to come out, right? And I knew the misogyny was going to come out, but it was so vile, so quick, that I think it took, I don't know, I can't speak for all Black women, but for me, it took me aback a little bit because I thought it was going to gradually get to that point. And we were just like, in a matter of 2 days, I had 15 death threats. I had people in my DMs calling me monkey, gorilla. I had people saying that, I really didn't get 100,000 followers. Who did I have sex with in TikTok to get them? I mean, it just went very, very disgusting quickly. And, from 2020, when I first jumped on, that was TikTok. TikTok was like Wild Wild West in 2020. So I was prepared back then. But over the last 4 years, because of, community guideline violations, people have calmed down a little bit with that. But over the last 8 days, it has been something else. I even had someone, I told North this the other day, and it's still bothering me today. Someone told me that Malcolm X would spit on me and would be ashamed of me. So it has been,
that's really, really vile. That's so vile.
Crazy. I mean, it has been crazy, but I in the back of my head, I knew this was going to happen. But like I said, it was just really quick. Like she announced and then boom, all the attacks.
Well, and that's the
Can I ask a question, Mia?
Yeah.
I find this like it's giving me mental whiplash, and I would love to get your perspective on this because you've got one newscaster saying, well, she's black and she's a DEI hire because she's black and because she's mixed race, but then turn around and on another network, another news anchor is saying, well, she's not even a black woman. like she's not, she's too qualified. She was too hard on crime. She wasn't hard enough on
Make up
crime.
your mind.
Like,
here's the thing,
I'm
right?
getting whiplash trying to keep up with it, and I wonder how it's impacting you specifically as somebody who is a part of those marginalized communities that she's a part of. How are you processing that?
Here's the first thing. The first thing I think of is the peoples whose ancestors created the one drop rule for black people have no right to tell anybody how black they are. That's the first thing. Okay. Secondly, her dad is an Afro-Jamaican. Her mom is Indian. She comes out and tells people who she is. She says, I am black, I am brown, I am a woman, I am whatever. She doesn't hide her Indian side and she doesn't hide her black side. So we have to respect the way she identifies. So she identifies as a black Indian woman. That's what it is. You know what I mean? But for people who come up with the one drop rule, like if you have one person in your family that's black, you're considered black, are now trying to take it back, like they want backsies or something, doesn't make any sense. You know, it's what she identifies at. In the black community, if you say you're black, your mom is black, your dad is black, you're black. That's what it is, period. You know what I mean? But to take, like, they didn't do this with Barack Obama. With Barack Obama, he was black from the beginning. They forgot about his white mother, that he was black. But then with Kamala, I'm noticing they're trying to take away her blackness because they understand the power of black women. And they want to take away that power, take away, oh, she's not really black, because they know when black women get together and we organize and we do grassroots, it's on. And so that's why they're trying to take away her blackness, and we can't allow them to do that. She is a black woman. She is an Indian woman. She loves her culture. She loves her mom. She loves her dad. That is it.
My favorite was the one broadcaster who said she hates Jewish people. And John Stewart
married to a Jewish man.
What?
Her husband's Jewish.
It's
Yeah,
like, what is that? They are so desperate.
A beautiful shtick, a beautiful segment on they can't make up their mind how they want to attack her.
Well,
because they
she's
keep using opposite arguments.
Right? That's how, like,
So
with me,
when they said she hates Jewish people, Jon Stewart goes, so does everybody else. What's the big deal?
Yeah, I saw Jon
Her
Stewart. I saw his thing. They're trying to find anything to throw against the wall to see if it can stick. Right? They went from
because now Trump is the old.
Yeah, he's the old.
They've stopped talking about that. Have you noticed they've stopped talking about it? Yeah.
They try to go for her intelligence, which is insane because her mom was a geneticist. Her dad is a professor. Her grandfather was an activist diplomat in Zimbabwe. I mean, her whole entire family is filled with intellectual, intelligent people. So they tried to call her a bum the other day. Like, really? She's a bum. She's the vice president of the United States. That doesn't even make any sense. You know what I mean?
I have a children's book about her, and I always want to read it to the people who say stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I told somebody that my dream ticket, because of how smart Kamala is and how accomplished she is, my dream ticket would be her and Pete Buttigieg.
I love Pete Buttigieg.
I'm there.
Pete's one of us.
Yeah.
I just want to squeeze his cheeks.
I'm there too.
I just want to squeeze his cheeks. He is so funny and so
He's so
witty
sweet. I've
and
met
so
him twice.
brave.
He's so sweet. I caucused for him
I love
in Iowa back in the last
Pete Buttigieg.
election.
I'm not sure. I think white women will just topple over I just don't know if they can.
I don't know who she's gonna
Like
pick.
I said, that would be my dream ticket.
Oh,
because
totally.
we're talking about accomplished individual.
Listen,
would be a
I
dream.
wanted Pete for president all the way. I went to
So did I.
3 places to hear him speak because I'm like, oh, this
He is
amazing
so-
soul.
Not only is he funny and witty, he's brilliant.
Yes.
He's very intelligent. He knows 5 languages or something.
7.
Like
7.
He is 7 languages. He's so intelligent. But my dream ticket, to be honest, would be Stacey Abrams. But
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I don't
My
think-
best
yeah.
friend was her campaign
yeah,
photographer.
I would love a Kamala and Stacey Abrams. But you know what? Whatever she picks, because she has to be strategic, right? So whatever she picks, whoever she picks, I know she's going to be smart about it. She's going to think about it, and we're going to be fine with it.
Text
Text
Andy.
Andy.
Kamala. I don't know. What
Text
to go
Andy,
with.
nobody is mispronouncing. And trust me, if we were, somebody would have corrected them. You just hush your face.
Yeah,
It's
Jake
Kamala
Harden.
Harris.
Don't worry about it. We'll
Is-
just
is
call her
Kamala
Madam
Harris.
President. How's that?
Madam President, let's start practicing that because
Okay,
I will
since
tell
brought
you
up
that
Stacey Abrams. Since you brought up Stacey Abrams, not only is that woman a phenomenal politician and human being, has anybody read her books?
No,
No.
I haven't read her book.
Selena Montgomery is the name she wrote under.
Mm-hmm.
They steamy. They steamy.
Ninth commandment. What is
Barry, your
ninth
face,
commandment?
It looks like you're blushing.
I own a couple of them. Let me just put it this way. I couldn't do a
she
read
made
aloud
me
because
blush, and I don't even know what the book is about.
she writes under the name Selena Montgomery, and a lot of them now say Stacey Abrams writing as Selena Montgomery.
Oh, I'll look them up.
It's where her grassroots support came from when she first ran for governor. It was all of her romance reading fans that were like, "Yeah, let's do it." But she's
Mississippi,
written some really cute.
Mississippi Queen. Hey, you! It's good to see you. Dot Views, could you repost the link for tonight's Zoom with future Madam President
What time
Kamala
is it
Harris?
starting?
I think it's at 7:15 Eastern time. So what time is it? It's 6:30.
5:30
Are
Central.
you
So-
going to be streaming it?
I don't think I'm going to,
Okay, I
just
will.
because I have an uncooperative, reactive dog who's right now sound asleep. So I'm very happy.
So I will stream. I've been streaming all of them.
Okay, good. So if you're not following Cece, please do so. Anybody else streaming tonight?
No, I had no plans to stream. I just want to watch the glorious. You know what? I want to say this too. I want to say this, and I don't typically thank white people for doing the right thing. I think you guys should just do it, right? But the last 8 days, the way that white women have followed the lead of black women has got me in a giddy, happy mood, y'all. Like
Yeah.
the 100,
Did
the 100,000
anybody watch
white
the
women.
men's stream last night?
Yeah, I saw that too yesterday. I'm going to mention that too. But the 100,000 women that I saw in that Zoom call, the money that was donated, the organization that I saw, I loved it. I also saw the black men getting together in a Zoom call. I think it was about 30 or 40,000 in there. They raised about $1 million. The white dudes yesterday said, "Hold my beer." And they came out 190,000, I think. And I think it was $4 million. So, the coalition.
Thank you for the gift.
I love this. I love this energy, but I wanted to specifically talk to women. And there was an Asian AAPI one that did great. A native.
Native.
Thank you for
And then there was an LGBTQI
and an
plus one.
LGBT. Yeah. So the coalition.
There's a Latin one that's been scheduled. I don't know if it's
Yes.
mine.
Yes.
The Latina one. So I am so proud to watch everybody get behind, Kamala and just work and fight for our rights as women. Not sitting down and watching black women do all the work. Like
There you go.
I'm loving this.
So Goddess Mia, I'm going to be one of them to say I am not offended by being called a part of the Cracker Coalition. I'm going to wear that proudly. And
Salty American.
sorry,
Saltine American.
Saltine Americans. I love that. Hey, but I gotta do a shameless plug here. I saw a post or a comment from Bookbound Bookstore who said that they just received an art copy of the book and they can't wait to read it. And I do have to thank you Bookbound, if you're still there. That was several comments ago, but I do have a book out. It is in pre-order. It's called Deconstructing, Leaving Church, Finding Faith. It is timely because there's several. I'm talking a lot about the importance of releasing those indoctrinated beliefs around patriarchy, which goes right along with what Goddess Mia was talking about. So I'm sorry, I needed to do that shameless plug because I do not do this well. So I appreciate you all.
I'm the queen of promo. Go ahead and promote.
I'm trying to learn. So thank you, Bookbound.
Yeah, I wanted to address someone. Someone said, "Is there a Christians for Kamala Zoom call?"
Yes.
I don't know. Is there?
Yes. There was. And if you go, I'll tell you the best place to probably find information about that is to go to End Christian Nationalism. They have a website here. I'm sorry, a user account here at End Christian Nationalism. They might not be 100% associated with that, but that would be a way to get it. I have saved it, but I want to tell you, by the end of the day, I've saved hundreds of videos. I'm so out of control right now. I can't, it's like there's so much content. I've got this tree of ripe fruit. I just what am I going to talk about today? What am I going to talk about today? And that it's like, I don't know what to talk about. And I'm telling you all, I'm upset. Is anybody obsessed? You're probably not. Am I the only one because I'm just that kind of freaky person? This new apostolic reformation, y'all. It's scary. And I have just read 6 books on it. 6. Yeah, that's why I'm too busy to do a live because I'm learning so much about this. Yes, if Davuz or somebody, if you have a link, could somebody, and for some reason none of us can pin. My mods can't pin. I can't pin.
The panel. You can't pin when people are on the panel. It's only when it's empty.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I learned the hard way.
I'm such an
filters also screw things up like that.
Oh, Lisa Broughton, I'm going to piggyback on your statement. You said Rev Karla is such a healer. Mm-hmm. She knows this. I've told her this, that she was the first person that made me feel that it was safe and okay to use the word deconstructing to describe what I was going through. Mm-hmm. So she was my first sort of she didn't even know who I was, I don't think. She was sort of my first mentor in the whole process on this app. It was her and 1 or 2 other content creators, but she was the first one I found.
Yeah, so she's kind of the same. It was the same for me too.
My deconstruction mama.
Yeah, she's my deconstruction mama too. And I think I found Goddess Mia not long after I found her, and I found, and then it wasn't long after that I found North Omaha.
Hello, Happy.
Hello, Goddess.
North
It's so
Omaha.
good to
I'm
be on here
responsible
with
for her
you.
even being on this app. So
Mary Jo is the reason I'm on TikTok, is because I saw her viral video about messing up the Tulsa rally.
Yeah, that was
hilarious.
And it was
on CNN. Mm-hmm. And there was Mary Jo. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that sounds like fun. So I downloaded the app.
Yeah. I mean,
I did participate in that.
I met Mary and Rev and North during the pandemic and the Black Lives Matter protest in the summer of 2020. Rev is just so sweet and so genuine, and I just gravitated towards her content. Even though I had already went through my deconstruction, I just wanted to support her in teaching others that it's okay to deconstruct, and it's okay not to feel okay, and it's okay to be confused and scared, because when you feel safety in a religion, when you're kind of like the outcast and you leave that religion, it's very scary because it was part of you, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And she's that safe space to let you know that you can deconstruct and still find family and still find community outside of the church.
So many in the deconstruction community end up being atheist or agnostic or whatever. And the universe knew I needed Karla because I have not walked completely away from faith. It just looks different. Honest, if I'm being brutally honest, the pull that I feel is to Celtic.
Oh.
I've been feeling. I started digging into my ancestry, which is Celtic, which being pulled into that pulled me into the culture, which pulled me into how they combine sort of their pagan practices with Christianity. And so that's that's the venue that I'm exploring right now. And there are content creators on here that are putting out great information on that.
Oh, I love that.
But so many deconstructing content creators, and there's a place for these people, the ones that are aggressive and that are forceful and that are willing to take on those that are still drinking the Kool-Aid and do the debating. I needed someone that was going to allow me to progress at my own speed.
Yeah.
That was going to be like, yep, sometimes you do deconstruct and still end up in a place of faith. It just doesn't look anything like what
it was.
Looked like growing up. And Kamala was, you were my vehicle into that side of deconstruction TikTok. I hang out on a lot of those more aggressive debater side TikToks now, but I don't think I could have handled it. I don't think it would have been as healthy a process for me if that is where I had started.
Well, for me, deconstruction was different for me because there was a lot of anger, and I'm going to keep it honest. I hated God at that point when I decided to leave, because I kept watching Black people get unalived constantly. That was like when we were getting hashtags after hashtags after hashtags. So my deconstruction was more about like, why are we left behind? Like, why don't you care about us? Like, what is it about Black people that we are hated around the whole entire world, yet we love you the most? I mean, you see Black people have the most faith and all this other stuff. So, you know, my deconstruction was dark and painful, and there was a lot of tears. And I didn't have a TikTok or any type of support group. I kind of did it on my own. And so, you know, watching you guys do it now in a way where it's a lot more, I guess, healthy, because it wasn't really that healthy for me. But now, like, watching you guys go through it in a healthy way makes me feel better for those like me who are Black, that are deconstructing, know that they have safe spaces amongst other races too. You know what I mean? Because it's not just, you know, Black people feeling this. There's a lot of other people feeling this, and it's nice to see. So I'm appreciative of all of you guys doing the work. And
Goddess Mia, you know, I would never try to talk for you, but I want something that you did a couple weeks ago reminded me of how much harder that deconstructing must have been for you, and even the entire patriarchy, because that trend that was going around where you did that, I was raised by a woman who was hard to impress, and I said something about the God that made me feel worthless, and you duetted my video and added the 6 things that were related to your experience, and I appreciated that. There was a person who said, well, somebody said in one of my comments, well, someone didn't need to duet you. You're a kind person. I'm like, I didn't take offense to that. It's important for us to have that education.
Yes.
That how much different your experience was, and that's why we always talk about when we talk. Are we settled on the Saltine Americans? Is that what we're going with? Is that the vote?
Yes.
Do we need a poll?
I'm gonna keep it honest. I would prefer not to use the word cracker, because for me, cracker is the person that used to crack the whips on slaves.
Oh, okay.
So
I prefer Mayo
personally,
sapien.
yeah, I don't want to
Mayo
use
sapien a lot.
Y'all do what y'all want to do, but I don't like to use that word.
Wonder Bread women is also wonderful.
Okay, Wonder. I like that.
Mia,
Wonder.
I have a question for you. How old were you when you started deconstructing?
Well,
Approximately.
I think I was about 19, 20. I was still going to church, right? I wasn't in my dad's house. My dad's a pastor, if you guys don't know. So I'm a daughter of a pastor. So I had moved down to Florida, but I kept going to church, and I wasn't happy going to church, but I kept going because I was just used to going to church. So around 19, 20, I decided to stop, but I still considered myself a Christian. But I don't think I didn't really start actually deconstructing until I was about like 25, when I actually started, you know, reading books and thinking about it and actually going to my African spirituality and talking to my priestess and knowing like doing my genetics and stuff like that. So, but around 1920 is when I started getting that itch to get out of church.
And I want to share one other thing, because Goddess Mia, you did a section for me for the God is Gay teaching series that I have. And you said, I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what you said, but you said, why would I choose to be who I am and make for a God that would hate me, or a religion that would hate me?
Yep.
And that has stuck with me so much, because when people talk about you being who you are and stepping into your sexual and your gender authenticity, why would people willingly do that, knowing
exactly
the judgment, the condemnation, the persecution, the alienation that they're going to receive? And that was so, so powerful. I mean, I just listened to what you said, and I just sob. I just sob listening to that.
If you think about it as a pastor's daughter, right, and it's taught to you from very beginning that LGBTQIA is a sin, and you have watched others who did come out in the church get shunned, get treated badly. And if you really think about it, it's like, why would I want to go through all that? You know, it would be a lot easier to stay in the closet, you know, and not have to deal with my entire family. Now, mind you, I am a Caribbean, you know what I'm saying? I'm from Haiti. So that's also another thing on top of that. So it's hard to know that you will be shunned by your entire family just because you love differently than everybody else in your family. It's like, why the fuck would you want to go through I'm sorry, I said the F word. But why would
that ain't gonna bother me.
Why would you want to go through all that? Like, it is terrible, especially if you think of the trans community. That's the kind of community that I think about a lot, you know, because for them to be able to be who they are, they have to face so much hate every time they walk out their door. And it's like, nobody chooses to go through that. It's just who they are, and they have to deal with society's reaction to them. But nobody wants to choose to be beat up, or choose to be cussed out, or choose to be shunned, or choose for your parents not to go to your wedding and stuff like that. Nobody wants that. But this is the society that we live in. And for someone to step into their power and be who they are in spite of that, that is something that everyone should champion, because it's hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, and y'all aren't going to be, maybe others do this too, but I will spend a few minutes each day watching Fox News. Does anybody else do it? I just want to hear what they're saying.
No,
Can't do that to myself.
I want to tell you.
Kamala is buying licenses
I can't do it.
for illegals so that they can vote.
Oh, but I maybe watched 5 minutes today, and I got enough content about disinformation that they were sharing, but they also dead named Caitlyn Jenner, talking about the Olympians. And this is someone, Caitlyn is out on the side of conservatives.
Right.
Yeah.
And
she's an awful person.
well,
She's an awful
that
person,
too.
and I don't like her at all, but I would never dead name her.
No, and they
But the
dead
lepers
named.
will eat her face. And we said that all the time. People that are on that side, that are part of marginalized communities, are literally siding with the leopards that are going to eat their faces.
And the thing is, I was on 90 Seconds, and they were talking about the former Olympians that they had on, and they dead named her. And I'm thinking, she is advocating. She sees herself as one of them, and not realizing that there's no unifying connection there. And if people, even the women, someone a while ago mentioned, how do women defend and support Trump? How do women do that? It's because of that internalization of that you believe that you are a part and above the rest of the people that you identify with, that you are willing to go up far enough on that patriarchal structure, that you think you're high enough to not be harmed or damaged, and you're willing to throw water on the rest of them if it will protect your privilege. And there is no privilege. It's all a matter of perception. Thank you for the glasses.
Can I say something real quick about that?
Yes.
One of the things I've noticed is that white women are put into these gold cages, right? The proximity to white privilege, the proximity to power. They're in these gold cages. But what has happened over the years is that the white men have been putting doo-doo in these cages. Now, when you sit in doo-doo long enough, you don't smell it anymore, right? So white women have been sitting in these cages filled with doo-doo, thinking that everything is okay because they're in a cage, but they don't smell the doo-doo anymore. They've been in it for so long. And now there's somebody coming in telling them, hey guys, you guys been sitting in this doo-doo. You've been sitting in this doo-doo. Wake up. Because
I'm so stealing that. That's such a good analogy.
Because you guys have power. You know what I mean? And one of the things that the patriarchy understands is that women do have power. That's why they try to take away the power of women. They take away your voice. They take away your vote. They try to go after everything. And like I tell North all the time, there is a forever war between white men and white women. And all of us marginalized are kind of in the mix of that forever war, because white men know that if white women finally understand their power, they will no longer be in power. So
when women, and I'm going to throw this out there as a pastor's kid and pastor's wife who is deconstructing, when you start to realize if somebody comes along, because I have to tell you, Mia, it's something about pastor's kids, because my kids ask me the same question you said you asked. Why would somebody choose to be LGBTQ if they knew it was going to bring down the wrath of the entire church?
Yes.
My own children asked me that question not long before the pandemic hit, and it gutted me. I couldn't get away from it. I couldn't just reason it away. It just stuck in my brain. So something about pastor's kids, because my kiddos did that to me. But when you are in the church and you're heavily involved, and I'm not talking I went occasionally. I mean, I was there 2-3 times a week. I had leadership positions. I was on boards. I taught Sunday school classes. I've been on praise teams since I was 12. When you realize if somebody's able to get through to you and you start looking around that cage and you're like, yeah, I am sitting in doo-doo. It stinks. It reeks. The problem is you're so ingrained in but my husband is the head of my household and I'm supposed to submit myself to him. And if I have enough faith in God, I'll understand why I'm sitting in the midst of all this crap and why it needs to be like this. So not only does it take a while to realize you're sitting in that cage, it also takes time to process, no, this isn't healthy. I don't care what the church has told me. Now, I'm lucky enough that my husband was already on his own deconstruction journey when I hit mine. So we've kind of been in different places, and we may eventually end up in final different locations, which is another whole discussion about, I'm supposed to be exactly like my husband from church training. But even when women start to realize that they're caught in this cage full of doo-doo, as you said, we've been so programmed to believe that whatever our husband decides is for our best. And we've been so taught that we just need to have enough faith to get us through the rough times that it's hard to go, no, this isn't a matter of faith. This isn't a matter of being submissive. This is garbage.
Exactly.
This is toxic. It is unhealthy, and I need to get out.
It's the husbands that's throwing the story.
I have a request right here. We just had this person, IIIS tar III is dead naming Caitlyn Jenner and has been.
No, thank you.
Goodbye.
Okay, my mods will be on that. I think they're pretty busy. Cece, before go ahead, sorry. Rosie, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that I had an unusual experience, I think, with deconstruction because I had questions when I was in second grade, but my mother was a teacher, and always instilled that we should ask questions. We should read read your assignment. So if that was reading the book of Acts, then you're reading your assignment, but then you're supposed to and do an analysis and ask questions to try and learn. And I got in trouble all the time because I was asking questions. Oh my God! And then I'd get yelled at and said, "What's a matter of faith? You don't have any faith." Or it's like, well, this is a legitimate question, and I was in grade school or junior high, and I was like, none of this. If you can't answer the question that a child presents you, and the answer may be, I don't know. but we could try and explore the answer together. But just yelling at someone like that, I was turned off very young. And my dad was a deacon, and my mom was the soprano soloist of the church. I was the one step below the PK.
Cece, I want you to go in just a second, but I wanted to bring up something that I think is uncomfortable to talk about, but what Goddess Mia and Mary Jo, and I think then exactly what you said, Rosie, but they not only set up the system sets up women to hate men, it sets us up to hate each other, to be in competition with each other.
Yes.
I mean, it is.
Absolutely.
It's so toxic, and that is even pitting mothers against daughters. And when you become aware of it, you realize how toxic it is, and sometimes even you can feel it. I'm going to be very vulnerable here, where you think that you're in competition. John Mellencamp had and I remember being triggered by this verse where he said, "All the girls walk by dressed up for each other." Because it's like the competition, because there is no other brutal group of women than white women.
Right.
As a group that will annihilate the women in that group.
We are the mean girls.
That's intentional. That's intentional, because if the infighting distracts from this patriarchal structure, this, like you said, Goddess Mia, this golden cage that they're in, but it keeps them in compliance.
But as white women, we need to have the courage to take that energy where we've been tearing each other apart, to turn it around, actually step into that golden cage full of poop to someone that you know, and actually say, you are sitting in poop. And be prepared that they may be defensive, they may be upset, they may be crying, the whole thing. But we are the most effective people to talk to another white woman and say, listen, that's not okay, and you don't have to do that.
Yes.
Did anybody else see Laura Burke's comment? Conditioned to keep ourselves in line.
Yes, that's it.
Right there.
And I always say we were taught to be good little girls, not rock the boat, make sure everyone's happy. You get
self-report.
You have kids. You get a good house.
Yo, Cece has been trying to talk for like 30
I'm sorry, Cece, go.
I feel bad because she's just looking at the camera like
sorry.
Go ahead. You're good.
Once again,
everyone here.
We white women just can't shut up. It took Goddess Mia to shut up.
I've missed Rosie and Mia on your lives. Like, I always have to leave right before they come on, and I'm always like, ah! So I'm just happy to be here. But I wanted to share with you this morning, I went to the salon. Shout out to Savvy. She does a good job.
Nice work.
I live in a very, very, very small, very red rural town in Pennsylvania. I'm in an even smaller development within that very small town where I have a Republican senator for a neighbor. And so it's glowing red. And I'm very mouthy. So I don't hide what I do very, very well. But I went to the salon today, and I always try to mind my P's and Q's when I'm in public, because I want to support women first and foremost, regardless of their beliefs, because I feel like if I'm always a safe space, eventually they'll need me. Eventually they'll need, someone to open up to. So I always want to have that door open and just let a little light shine in, and, they'll get curious. And we're sitting there, some are processing, some are getting cut, some are getting blown out. Thank you, Sherry. And I start talking to my hairdresser, who has a very kind of, hillbilly-ish kind of husband. And, she'll say that, so I'm not offending anyone. And everyone else around me, and we see some of the guys come in for cuts and their dirty jeans and their work boots and their cowboy hats and stuff. And I'm I'm sensing something from what the women are saying. And I was like, I'm going to go out on a limb here. If I talked about the Kamala Harris calls that have been going on, would you guys be offended? And they're like, no. And I'm like, have any of you been on them? They're like, I actually signed up through your link. And I was like, get out of town. So I had a live going. This morning that I had muted, and I let the women take the panel, so I could just go to my appointment. And I typed in guys, I'm going to unmute for a second. Just listen. Because, this is where you know, your words walk, you know? And I'm like, just listen to this conversation that we're starting here. And I had 6 women sitting around, and they all started talking about how, like, if my husband knew who I was voting for, he would be so mad. But you know what? F him. I'm voting for my children. I'm voting.
Yes.
And I was like, ooh, ooh, ooh. And we start talking about abortion rights, and we start talking about medical sexism, and we start talking about like how we are conditioned to please not just older people, but the men, you know, like, because the moms and the grandmas would love to hear us talk, you know, but the dads and the grandpas don't. Yeah. And we just kind of went through this really organic, beautiful conversation. And I said, you know what? I have a business in town with a really big space. Let's make a women's group. I was like, I don't care if it's political. I was like, in fact, let's not make it political, but let's come up with a safe haven for women so that if they need to find someone to talk about this stuff, they have the support, or they have a friend and they feel safe here. And we all just like networked so hard for an hour on like who all would want to get together, and different local, politicians, not the neighbor, but like other people.
That's
and
amazing.
We all can get in, and it just like keep talking and keep raising the voice.
Cece, are you streaming tonight? Are you streaming?
Awesome.
I am.
And someone said that it's starting, and yes, someone's asking for the link.
Because I'll go to your live.
Okay, can someone?
We
that's awesome. Can someone else drop the link? And we're probably.
I'm going to drop.
Goddess Mia, thank you. I love you. Rosie, see ya. Bye.
Love you all. I'm gonna go set that up.
Bye, Mary Jo. I'll see you soon. So, Cece, thank you so much for coming up. Heather, thank you so much for coming up. It looks like the streaming is getting ready to start. So, if someone can drop the link here, Vice President Kamala Harris is streaming tonight. So, there is a link that's been passed around. Unfortunately, I can't pin when I've got guests up. So if someone who is still here can drop the link one more time before we take off. I appreciate all of you being here tonight. We will be going live more regularly now. I appreciate those of you who are subscribing. When we get 20 subscribers, we're going to start doing live Zooms in there, or live subscribers only lives, where we're going to be talking specifically about these books that I've been reading. But don't fret. I'll always give you lots of content here. Jules says to go to eventsdemocrat.org. That's where you will find it. And you should be able to register, and you should be able to find it. I think it's also live streaming on pbs.org. So you should be able to find that as well. We'll be back very soon. Thank you all so very much. This was such a powerful live. This is exactly the kind of live that I want to be able to do, to hold that space for those of you who are deconstructing. Maybe triggered by some of the things, just know we're here together. We love you. I'm so proud of so many of you who are standing in the gap, learning what it means to be a helpful and safe space for people, and learning what it means to deconstruct, to truly make a change. Because this is not just the battle of two evils. This is the battle for our democracy, but also our children and our children's children. So make sure that you keep the faith, keep the hope, and I will see you soon. As I always say, stay awake, use your voice, and vote. Much love to you all. See you soon. Bye for now.